diamonds in the rough. NFL Draft Diamonds. Time to shine.
Hi, my name is Jimmy Williams with NFL Draft Diamonds, and we are presented by the Hula Bowl. Today I have with me Ryan Greenhagen. He's a linebacker out of Fordham. Nice to have you on, sir.
Well, thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
Yeah, so obviously we got ourselves an All-American linebacker. You've really done a lot of great things at your university. Racking up a crap load of tackles and accolades and all that. But before we get to some of those things, I want you to kind of set the stage for us, if you don't mind. Tell me where you're from and how you got to your university.
Yeah, so not too far from school. I'm from North New Jersey, Denville, New Jersey. I went to school in Sparta, New Jersey. I went to Pope John, the 23rd High School. And, you know, I had a great experience there. I played with a lot of great teammates. A lot went on to go, do some great things in college as well. And from there, I wasn't a highly recruited person, which kind of gave me a chip on my shoulder. And I was given an opportunity at Fordham, and the rest is history. And it's been the greatest experience of my life.
Yeah, so Jersey kid, staying kind of near home, ended up going to Fordham. Do you want to kind of backtrack a little bit to your days in high school? Did you play any other sports, participate in anything else besides football?
Yeah, I was a baseball player for my first year there, and that was a lot of fun. I love baseball. But after that, we kind of decided that football was kind of the way to go. So spent a lot of time in the weight room during the off season, and made the full transition there.
Interesting. So you still a baseball fan? You cheer for the Yankees or something, or what?
I'm a Yankees fan. Happy to have Jeff.
Hey, you figure if you're from the area, obviously you're either Yankees or Mets, and most people are Yankees fans, so they travel well.
Sure.
But so played some baseball, obviously stuck with this football thing. Why football, man? What do you love about this game so much?
I love, it's the great thing about football in my eyes, outside of, the actual game itself. I just love that it's the ultimate team game. I love being able to play with, there's 10 other guys on the field with you at all times. And I think that's awesome because it's not easy. You have 90 to 100 guys in a locker room. So, to get all those guys on the same page, I think is a really, really unique thing to the sport. And it's just so fun to be in a locker room that's, a lot of times everybody's from different situations, and you get an opportunity to just see everybody's life experiences, but you all have a common goal. And I think that that's one of the really special things about football.
Gotcha. Obviously a lot to love about this game. But yeah, getting people from different backgrounds coming together, and getting that W and celebrating with your, with your friends, obviously a great thing. So, talk about Fordham, talk about your university, man. Talk about that campus, and what you've been able to experience as a student during your time there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I was in during my undergrad, so I'm finishing up my master's in the next couple of weeks. But during my undergrad, I was a business administration major. I concentrated in finance and business law and ethics, which was an awesome experience. The great thing about that major was I was able to split my concentration so that I could see a couple of different things. And I'm getting my master's in business analytics, so I'm getting a whole nother side of that. So I've really kind of had three separate main topics that I've been able to focus on throughout college, which has been awesome because it's broadened my horizons a lot, and I've learned a ton. About the school itself, Fordham's a great school. Academically, athletically, it's a tight-knit community. It's got a family feel to it. And then in terms of the campus, I mean, you're right in New York City, but when you step on our Rose Hill campus, it's beautiful. It's green, there's trees. You wouldn't expect it from a city school, which is really, really cool. And as soon as I stepped on campus, I knew it was the place for me. I just felt it. And it's a really, really cool place, special place.
Gotcha. So, already obtained your undergrad, working on your master's. Obviously been in a lot of different classrooms. Um, what's been your most difficult class?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this recently. Investments and security analysis was tough. In my master's, text analytics was very tough. That's a lot of we were working with some data science, and you had to learn computer programming in Python, which I didn't have any real base previously, so I had to kind of learn that as we went along. So it was really interesting, and I learned a ton. But it wasn't the easiest to pick up right away.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, obviously, going to be able to walk away with your master's here soon, and you also leave behind this legacy of you as a football player. So, like I said from the get-go, man, like a lot of accolades to your credit, and a lot of great wins. But let's talk about that team as a whole, man. Talk about your defense. How would you describe that defense overall?
I mean, we run a 4-2-5. What we're personnel oriented, so we would base what we're running against what the offense's personnel is. We did a lot of different stuff. We did switch up at times. We would go from that 4 down to a 3 down, and depending on health and depending on a number of things, we tried to be as aggressive as possible in terms of pressures and getting after the quarterback. And it was a lot of fun. We were a real tight knit group, so it was great. And obviously there was times where we wanted to give up less points and stuff like that, but I think that we put ourselves in positions to win a lot, which was really fun. And it was the most fun I've had in my football career was this past year.
Gotcha. Talk about some of your teammates, man. Who's been some of your most impressive teammates over your career there at Fordham?
I mean, I've had a ton. Glenn Cunningham was early on. He was a linebacker before me, and he was kind of like my mentor in a lot of ways. Kind of brought me in and made me feel comfortable with everything. And Tim Demorat, which you guys have spoken with. I mean, the kid's he's an animal. He particularly this year, he really came into his own, and we had all our trust in him. As a defense and our entire offense. Let me just say that we had all our trust in that. As soon as we got off the field, we expected them to score, and for the most part, they never let us down. Fotis Kogosoulis, MJ Wright, DeKeith Carter, on the line, Phil Sala, all those guys on offense, just really, really great players. And that's why historically we had one of the best offenses, the FCS has seen. And then on the defensive side of the ball, my linebacker, mate, James Conway, I can't wait to see what he does in these next couple of years. He's an extremely hard worker. He and I do a lot of our extra stuff together, and he's going to be even better than he is now as he keeps getting more experience and more time learning and everything. And John Coste up front, it's incredible as a linebacker to be able to play behind a guy like that, where they have to honor him or he will he'll make every play. So that's absolutely wonderful. And there's been I can't name everybody, but there's been so many people that have just been so incredible in my career here.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, we named a lot of them. So, for those that we didn't, sorry, we apologize. We only have so much time. So, anyhow, obviously you being a very crucial part of that defense. Talk to me a little bit about how you're utilized there as linebacker. I mean, are you strictly there as the mic, or do you move around, or what?
Yeah, so I've had the real cool experience. My freshman year, I actually played. We would go 3 down, and I would actually move around a lot. I wasn't the true mic. It was kind of a position we created to move me around. Sometimes I was a stand-up 3 tech. Sometimes I played edge. Sometimes I played true linebacker. Sometimes I'd be apex out as an outside linebacker. So that was a lot of fun. I got to do a lot of cool stuff there. And then once I transitioned into the full-time Mike linebacker, Um, for the most part, I've been playing, that standard Mike role, but this year I got to do some stand-up DN and third down packages, which was a lot of fun. And I think in terms of how I'm utilized, it's, I think one of my best qualities personally is, having a nose for the football. And, I think the goal for me and for us as a team was, how can we best get that to happen, and how can we scheme that up so that happens. Um, but yeah, I mean, I did whatever the team needed me to do. I was more than happy to do.
Gotcha. I mean, obviously being the leader there, on that defense, being a team captain for God only knows how long. I can't remember how long you've been a team captain, but I know a lot of people have, really looked up to you over the years. Can you kind of enlighten me a little bit about what it means to be a team captain for your program?
Yeah, I mean, it meant the world to me, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of. Um, you know, to be voted that from your teammates, and to be um, respected enough by the program to be given that honor. And it's, it takes on, well, once you get that honor, it takes on a whole new responsibility. You're not just a football player for, you're not just an individual. Everything you do, you're doing to try to lead the team, and you're doing to try to inspire the team and make sure that the team has energy all the time, to make sure that our standards are being upheld. And it's not always easy. You have to be a vocal leader, and you have to, sometimes it's uncomfortable, but it's what needs to happen. And it was an awesome experience, especially this year where I was able to, really have a strong voice. And it was so much fun.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, we talked a lot about obviously your success and what you've been able to do there. I want to kind of take a step back into something that I don't know, maybe you want to talk about, maybe not, but last season. Obviously coming in very strong, doing very well. Actually ended up having like this insane game against what was it, Nebraska, getting like 31 tackles, which was just crazy. But then shortly thereafter, you got hung up a little bit and your season got shut down. Talk to me about that, man, and what's really going through your mind when that happened.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great start to the season, and it was, that Nebraska game was really cool, and it's something I'll never forget. And the games after that were an awesome time. Yeah, unfortunately, I had a season-ending injury during the first play of the second half of week 5. Kind of just a freak thing, and it's extremely unfortunate, and it was, it's especially at the time, it's really, really hard to deal with, because you put in so much work. And especially coming after, that was after everything with COVID, and we were finally back to a normal season. And that happened. But I am a big believer in everything happens for a reason. It gave me the opportunity to come back here and get my master's degree and be with these guys that they're my family, and have another opportunity to do that. So obviously there's a lot of downsides to it, and you never want that to happen. But I try to look at the positives, and rehab went absolutely great, the surgery went great, and I was back, day 1 of camp, right back to normal. So I'm blessed in that regard.
Sure. Well, sorry I had to ask that question, but I feel like a lot of people would want to know. I mean, obviously, like how that affected you, and where you're at these days. I mean, obviously, didn't slow you down this season. You go out there, you have a phenomenal year, and named first team all conference. So I mean, as usual, of course, but I mean, you still are able to close things out very well, with a fantastic year. So let's kind of talk about you as a prospect. I mean, obviously, people were looking at you last year as a prospect, and so we're still in the same boat. People are still looking at as you as maybe like a potential draft pick even. So how would you describe yourself as a linebacker?
Yeah, I would say that I have a very old school mentality. Get to the football, and make sure that the ball carrier feels you when you get to the football. I'm a huge believer that the work that you do beforehand is what's going to show up on game day. In my experience, that's absolutely been true. So my goal at all times is to be the hardest worker, period, regardless of level, you know, who I'm playing against. It doesn't matter. You know, that's always been my goal. So that's kind of, I try to think that no one will commit themselves as much as I will. And in terms of you know, other aspects about me as a linebacker, I'd say, you know, I think I've got pretty good instincts. And I think that acceleration of the ball is probably a couple of things that I do best.
Great, great. Well, I mean, obviously, again, you're on a lot of people's radar, man. So, nice to at least hear from you as to, you know, how you kind of view yourself. When you look at guys at like the next level, is there like a guy that you're like a big fan of, or you watch his film the most?
I mean, he's retired now, but I loved Luke Kuechly, and purely because, well, obviously I loved watching him play, but to hear about how he prepared, film study, how he was able to analyze plays and be able to call things out before they happen. It's truly inspiring stuff. That's a guy that I try to emulate myself after a lot. You know, back in the day, I love watching Ray Lewis. You know, nowadays, I mean, there's so many guys, but I mean, you know, Fred Werner is a guy that comes to mind. I just love watching him. I think he plays the game the right way. You know, so those are all guys. You know, Micah Parsons is so much fun to watch too.
Sure.
But yeah, I would say those guys.
Well, obviously, striving to be like those guys. I know you've made a ton of great plays there for your university. When you look back at your time, what's going to be like one or two moments that are going to stick with you, man? Like, you have like one of your favorite memories?
Yeah, my sophomore year when we beat Richmond, we were still a very young program, and we weren't at the time we weren't very good, to be honest. But that was that was my first home win. So I was a sophomore, and that was my first home win at the time. And it was a family weekend, and the stadium was packed, and we weren't supposed to win, and that was incredible. That was awesome. And then obviously, you know, the Nebraska game, walking off that field, and you know, 89,000 people, 86,000 people, I forget exactly what it was. But you know, that after that, it kind of, you know, everything kind of blew up a little bit after that. And just being in that locker room and, you know, doing a little, you know, doing the interviews and stuff, it was something I never experienced and something I'll never forget.
I mean, you're going to have to get used to that sort of thing, man.
For sure.
Because at this stage, I mean, now you're, you know, going to be moving forward into the pros here shortly. So I do want to get a chance to talk about you outside of the game, if you don't mind. So give us a little something, you know, about yourself. Who is Ryan Greenhagen other than a football player? Any of your likes, dislikes, or anything you got going on in your life that you want to share?
Yeah, no, I mean, outside of football, I have a great family. I love my family. I'm one of 3 children. I have an older sister. She lives out in Denver, Colorado. An older brother who lives back in New Jersey. You know, I'm an outdoorsman. I really like spending time outdoors. I don't like being inside very much. So you know, I'm a fisherman. I like hiking. You know, I kind of grew up you know, near the woods. So I always used to spend a lot of time out there. You know, as I mentioned earlier, I love baseball. I love watching it. I love going to Yankees games. You know, I'm really excited. My brother's having a kid, so I'm going to be an uncle soon. You know, come April, and you know, I've always been the youngest. I'm the youngest child, so I'm really excited about that. And then most recently, I just got back yesterday from Las Vegas, where they did the College Football Hall of Fame, and they announced the Campbell Trophy. So that was my first time going there, and that was a great experience. The National Football Foundation did a great job, and you know, that was something that was an unforgettable experience. But yeah, that's some pretty cool stuff.
So yeah, I mean, obviously a lot going on for you right now. Do want to see if I can get at least one or two more things out of you real quick that are not football related. Favorite meal?
Oh, favorite meal, like a cheat meal. I try
Sure.
to eat a very clean diet, but cheat
Well,
meal.
wait,
I
yeah,
love
cheat meal.
cheat meal. I love chicken parm. Chicken parm's where we're right on Arthur Ave here at Fordham, so it's kind of it's Bronx, Little Italy, and yeah, if you slack a little bit, you can definitely put on a couple pounds if you're not smart.
Sure. And obviously you're not trying to do that right now.
Of course not.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie? I'm a huge superhero guy, so I'm gonna go with The Dark Knight. The one with Heath Ledger's Joker.
Hey man, that's a good movie, man. I love that movie.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh,
regardless of if you're a superhero fan or not. It's a fantastic film.
oh yeah, Heath Ledger, man. Like that was like people will remember that, as like his swan song. So
Yeah,
um well, hey, nice to meet you a little bit outside of the game. Do want to try and wrap things up if you don't mind. Obviously, you're at a point, like we said. I mean, you're this legitimate prospect that people really need to know if they don't already. I don't know where they've been. They've been under a rock, man. Because when you get a guy like yourself who's really gotten a lot of these accolades, gotten to over 400 tackles. Everybody should know who you are by now. But to those who you haven't spoken to yet, I want to give you the opportunity to speak to all those scouts out there right now. So go ahead and look in that camera and tell them why they need to draft you, why they need to sign you, and what you would be for their program if they took a chance for you.
yeah. I mean, any program that would take a chance on me, I'd say that you're going to get someone that's going to be a tireless worker, someone that there will be nobody that will spend more time trying to improve themselves in the game. Someone that'll do anything for the team. I'm a team first guy, 100%. Always have been, always will be. And then someone that's going to set the tone whenever and however they step on the field, going to play in, play out, ensure that the style of play and the standard of play is up to par with anybody. And that's something that I take very, very, very seriously. Being a leader on the field is something I take very, very seriously, and someone that's always going to give it their all.
Gotcha. Well, Ryan, it's been nice chatting with you. I mean, obviously, I feel, just want to reiterate that obviously anybody who takes a chance on you is going to get a good quality linebacker who has a nose for a ball. Just a bit old school. Gonna come down and stop the run. And so do those things very well, and obviously be a great leader out there for your team. So do wish you best of luck in this draft process that we're going through right now, and anything else you got going on in your life. So thanks again for the interview.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time.
Sure, man. Once again, Ryan Greenhagen, linebacker, Fordham. Definitely check him out.